Okay, so we've talked about hands, and we have talked about the fact that the cables that pull this hand down run one on each finger, and they actually run up through here, through the forearm to here. And here, the cables run on the back of the hand and they run through here to here. But what people don't necessarily think about, and this is not to try and put you all off wearing rings and things like that, but people don't realise that sometimes putting a ring on that's quite tight across a finger can start to restrict and irritate and actually sometimes cause things like, I'm going to say Dupuytren's contracture, but they cause the tendons to become restricted. So as well as pulling two bones too tightly together, say these two bones, so that they can't bend properly. Remember, this is a foot, but it's the same as in a hand. As well as that, if you've got a ring tightly round a joint, it can start to cause inflammation in that joint. So sometimes we just need to be aware that things like tight watches around wrists, for instance, if it's too tight, and some people actually have it digging into their wrist, they're quite surprised to find that it actually starts to cause hand and arm issues. So people need to be kind of aware of that, and I've sort of said the same here with bracelets, but we have some who are wearing these in bed if they're going through a marriage ceremony in certain cultures and so on. They're wearing many bangles at night, and they're lying on them at night, and especially if they're very slim, they can find that it starts to cause irritation on the arm. And some cultures have toe rings and so on their feet, and it starts to cause people to walk in certain ways. So we just try to make people aware of the fact that these, if I'm at a keyboard and I'm pressing those into my wrist, I may not want to. I am very keen on jewellery, and I think it has a lot to offer for people, but sometimes people don't realise. And during recent months, I got a very big ring on here, and I saw as it started to tighten this tendon down, which I know of as Dupuytren's contracture, where the tendon starts to tighten, and I stopped wearing the ring concerned. It wasn't this ring, but I'd noticed, and then I had to do work to try and get that tendon to reawaken. So just be aware that we are designed to be bending and flexing, and the same goes, ladies, when you're wearing your Spanx or similar, and you're starting to actually wear tightening around this area. It's probably worth discussing that as well. I've had ladies coming in who were wearing skinny jeans, and they've had heavy surgery and so on in this area, or previous histories of adhesions and so on, and we have got to then work on them in a session to try and relieve the spasms and so on that go on, because parts of your body do not like being restricted. So just bear that in mind. Sometimes if you're finding that your skinny jeans have given you an ache around here, it's probably because it's displacing elements of your internal organs in just the same way as if you're wearing rings on your fingers and so on, it could be displacing that. So it's just something that's worth mentioning.